Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I've tried to record this a couple times now. I've had to re-record it. I'm trying to cut it down, right? So, a few things have happened. I have had very little sleep, as you might be able to tell from the wonderful hairdo. Also, you might be able to tell I've shaved my neck beard. And that is because I have progressed into the 95th to 98th percentile of Windwalker monks this week. Plus, my Mythic Plus score is no longer embarrassingly low because I no longer rely on my raid team to do high-level Mythic Pluses with me once a week. And that is fine. That is perfectly fine. I don't like being a burden on a raid team, but we also I have nothing to spend my dinar on now. The idea was to get the first sigil and upgrade that to heroic, but unless I'm doing actual mythic, the first sigil is useless. I've already got a very high versatility trinket. I'm now hitting maximum versatility, but that's not what we're here for. No. No, what we are here for is something even better. That's right, something better, something amazing. We are here for the Max interview with Ian Hazakostas. That's right. Now, there are some things that we are going to see. I'm going to explain kind of the context of that answer, because otherwise it's just going to be boring. We also have a bit of a look at endgame, and so we are going to chit-chat about that and scene. My dogs are also very happy. They also probably see my cat, which is wonderful. They are so friendly with each other. So, Season 4 success. The team is super happy with how Season 4 has turned out. There were some kinks to work out, but they have been addressed, and they now see this as something that can happen towards the end of every expansion. I've been suggesting this for years. I suggested like a greatest hits raid, because honestly, it does feel bad for something like Castle Nathria, which was great content and like pretty good bosses, to kind of like fall down and not be useful after LFR of Sanctum releases, because the LFR just rewards better loot. It's nuts. It's stupid. I hate it. Having a way to address bad RNG is something the team wants to keep in some way going forward. Yeah, we used to have that called, it was called bonus rolls. Bonus rolls, and the proposed vault system that we never got. You talked up the vault like, hey, it'll have smart loot detection, and it'll be able to do this and do that, and we never got that. They are not necessarily going to keep the same vendor that they have used in Season 4, as purchasing a BIS item from a vendor when you haven't killed the boss yet on Week 3 would diminish the value. True, but this is what you do. In order to buy it, right, like if I'm trying to buy a jailer weapon, then what you would require is the achievement for killing the jailer. Whether it be in heroic or normal or mythic or LFR, you let me buy that weapon. The upgrade tokens that we have, like kill 20 heroic bosses, get a heroic upgrade token, that is great, that is wonderful. Please keep that in the game. That is just amazing. It is also going to be very interesting to see what happens when they unlock all of the fated raids to be like out there once. I think it's one more rotation, or this is the final rotation, right? So after this Sanctum or the next Sanctum in September, or no, that'll be early October. They might unlock it on pre-patch, but I highly doubt it. Pre-patch, we are going to be fucking insanely powerful. Anyways, next, there's some social value in keeping mythic lockouts, as it encourages people to stick with the team instead of bailing right when something goes wrong. Yeah, but it also means that people are like, I'm now stuck in this mythic raid. we can't kill anything. This group sucks so hard, stuff like that. It's fine. It's fine. Let people do different lockouts. If you're worried about, oh, these people will just go in and farm the fucking mythic boss on these characters and use it for split raids, who cares? Who cares? The team wants to make more and more things cross-server. They are moving in the direction of having mythic raids potentially being cross-realm enabled earlier, but not on day one. That's fine. Have it enabled, probably at the end of the LFR release, I think would be long enough, because it's 8 weeks? That's fine. Cross-server guilds are potentially on the table. Cool. You guys technically have a way to do that already. Cross-faction guilds is something the team wants to do before the end of Dragonflight, but there's tricky coding involved that they had to solve. Pretty sure you can just talk to a lot of private server people that already solved that coding. The team is looking to solve faction changes, nuking your raid lockout. It nukes more than that. It nukes your achievement progress for some things. Thank you, Faded. Class buffs. Bring the player, not the class, was too extreme. The team wants there to be reasons to seek out a class for raid, but they also don't want their raid buffs to be too powerful that you feel you need them to succeed. So when he was talking about this, scroll, they don't want a warrior to feel like they're just bringing a slightly better version of a scroll. So what I would suggest is giving us WAD and Legion? I think it was WAD and Legion style buffs, where Class A has buff A, Class B has buff B, and Class C has buff A and B. Right? So it's like, oh, hey, we don't have a warlock, but we do have a mage, and the mage gives us the warlock buff and this other buff, which we already have a thing of, so we just need the mage for the warlock buff. That, there's, people talk about utility too, and they never mention Ring of Peace as utility. Evoker will bring Bloodlust and Dragonflight. That's great. We now have Hunters can do it, Shamans can do it, Mages can do it. We now have a fourth class that can do it, which is great. Team is looking to give Battle Res to another class in Dragonflight. What they were talking about was probably Paladin, which, while some people are like, oh, that doesn't make sense for Paladins. Oh, why Paladins? Why not Shamans? Because Paladins you're giving it to one of the most versatile classes, right? It is a tank, a healer, and a DPS. You could give it to Monk, but Monk's got a lot of shit, so I don't know. I think the thing with it just being straight melee would be the same problem that we have with Death Knights only having it, which kind of sucks, but whatever. Give it to Paladins, it'll equal everything out. Another healer gets it, another DPS gets it, another tank gets it. You now have half the tanks able to battle res. The team might pull back on some buffs that they have introduced in the alpha. Yes, please do so. The rogue buff was insane. I don't know if that's been fixed yet. There's just some crazy shit going on there, man. The team doesn't want to design encounters that absolutely require certain utility, such as Death Grip, but they also want to add more unique utility to classes that might make encounters a little easier, such as Death Grip. This came at the whole, hey, how do you guys, balance around something like a Warlock where they're always wanted, and a DK where it's you're not always wanted, right? DKs don't always need to have one in your group. You don't always need AMZ. You don't always need a Death Grip, stuff like that, which is fine. If they add more stuff, you don't always need a Ring of Peace to deal with Spiteful, because apparently people didn't know that was a thing, which I think was insane, by the way. I went into Mythic Plus with one of my groups. It was the final 15 of last season, actually. It was Gambit. And we had Spiteful popping up. And they're like, oh no, we've got 4 Spitefuls. Ring of Peace. I will look at that later. But yeah, Season 2 will have the other 4 dungeons and 4 other dungeons from prior expansions. Mist of Pan... Oh yeah, they announced Mist of Pandaria dungeons for Season 1. I like Mist of Pandaria dungeons. They were cool. Now, people are probably like, well, you should do other dungeons. Do TBC dungeons. I highly doubt they will. The reason why we're going to be seeing, like, Mist of Pandaria dungeons and WAD dungeons is because those dungeons were designed around challenge modes. So that was already like, hey, you're fighting stronger bosses. People were taking certain routes to be able to do stuff. So that's kind of what the base of Mythic Plus was. I don't think that we should see anything before Mist of Pandaria go in there. Which, yeah, the team would like to cycle through all the dungeons over the course of an expansion. I'd like that too. In fact, during the last season, I don't care if, like, oh, you can get a 2,000 rating by just doing +5s. I don't care about that. Just give us all the dungeons. Just give us all the dungeons, plus some extra at the end of it. Just do that. Just do that. I don't care. I don't care that a KSM mount, like, requires certain shit. Right? One of the problems faced by Heroic and normal guilds right now is the repeatability of Mythic Plus loot that is on par with those difficulties. Yes, that is very true. In fact, it is because of Mythic Plus loot that I don't have anything to spend my dinar on. I've already got a high verse trinket. I don't need First Sigil. Scars of Fraternal Strife isn't something that I'm going to be needing, right? Because it's an okay trinket. Like, it's high item level, so it gives a lot of agility, but I'm going to be getting the ability to upgrade my gear to a higher item level. Oh, dude, I can't wait to start Dragonflight. They want to make the gear between dungeons, raiding, and PvP more unique from one another. You've already achieved this. PvP gear scales up in PvP combat. Just make raid gear scale up in raids, and have dungeon gear scale up in dungeons. So, for example, have it like 350 base item level for everyone, right? 350 base item level for everyone. Jimmy gets piece of raid loot. Well, in dungeons, it's 350. In the open world, it's 350. In PvP, it's 350. In raids, it's 382. Or something like that. Just have it normalized in regular content. Now, if let's say that's the LFR piece. If it's a normal piece, have it 360 in the open world and all that. Because you are doing harder content, and then just keep that scaling, right? Keep that scaling of it is a higher item level, and do that with dungeons, right? If I'm going into Heroic Raid Night, I should be wearing my Heroic Raid gear. I shouldn't be wearing stuff that I got from a dungeon, right? And if I'm doing a dungeon, I don't want to be wearing stuff that I got from a raid when I have better stuff from the dungeon sitting in my bags. Stuff like that. That's fine. That's an easy enough fix. They are probably going to introduce this fix and frame it as like, oh, this was some super unique special thing. Dragon riding. The team wants to preserve the importance of all mounts collected up until Dragonflight, and dragon riding has been well received, and the team wants to look into how to take that forward after the expansion. Yeah, I don't think they realize that people just find that shit fun. Like, dragon riding is just fun. Yeah, you nerfed it, but it's fun. And it's a lot of work to do it with all of the flying mount models, but I think it's worth it. I think it would totally be worth it. I want to go around, I want to fly at like fucking 600% speed on my motherfucking flying nope. Talents trees. Druid and Priest, they hear you and will have an update on your talent tree soon. The team would like all feedback to be equal, but life happens and there are certain situations that may hold back communication, which in this case is the Druid and Priest dev is currently on vacation or just away from the office. And people are like, oh, you have a source for that? Yeah, right here. Oh, life happens. Maybe they died. Maybe they got fired. Maybe they diddled another coworker. No, they get promoted for that. I don't know. It doesn't matter what they did. They're just not there. The team recognizes that at least communicating that they are listening, even if they have nothing to update, is something that they can do better. You talk like that's a big deal. You guys just log on the forums and be like, yo, we hear you. Updates soon. Stuff like that. That's it. That's all you have to do. We've been hearing the same line of, we will do better. We hear you and we will do better. Since fucking Kata. I think probably before Kata. It's stupid. It's stupid. We had that since fucking Lore was doing shit. Come on now. You guys can do better than this. I trust Ian. I believe in Ian. Testing the talent trees and raid and content is what is ahead of the team in the alpha. They will listen, respond, and iterate on the trees based on feedback and testing. That would be great if the trees were all implemented. Can't really test the Windwalker tree. We have some talents that aren't working, some talents are bugged, and some talents aren't even in the game. I understand that's probably coming back. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, this whole thing, this just reminds me that Shadowlands development was so weighed down by those extra bullshit systems of, oh, we have to test Torghast. Okay, well, now we need to nerf Torghast because it was too fun. Oh, we have to test the legendaries. Oh, we need to know how the legendary interacts with this. Oh, we need to, make sure that you can craft each legendary and have the legendary system work like this. Oh, well, now we need soulbinds, and we need to a month into work balancing the soulbinds just to turn it on their head, like, really close to release, which was fucking stupid, by the way, and completely invalidated all the work that they put into prior. Oh, we need to balance the Covenant abilities and have the Covenant abilities work a certain way. Oh, we need to, work on the 10 systems within the Covenants. Oh, we need to work on this. We need to work on that. If you look at, like, we need to work on tier sets. We need to work on the stuff above tier sets, stuff like that. If you look at all of this, they fucked themselves hardcore with Shadowlands because they're like, listen, we'll just front load all the systems and then abandon most of them after the first patch. We got no new soulbind shit in 9.2. It would have been a great time. Like, they expanded the trees and they're like, oh, well, we don't want more vertical progression. We want more horizontal progression, which would have just been adding things to the rows, right? You would do that and you would add soulbinds. I even had a thing in my leak where it's like, yeah, hey, eventually the Kyrians get Uther as a soulbind, and then the Eternal one as a soulbind because it would make sense. Hey, you're fighting our overpowered brother, take some of our power because it took all of us to seal him away before, and he's insanely more powerful now. That made sense. Blizzard isn't so on the side of making sense too much anymore. Raid release. Ian wants to know how the community feels about releasing all difficulties of raids on the same day instead of having Mythic launch a week later. That's worded poorly. LFR is a difficulty and LFR was not mentioned. However, I believe if they launched all of them on the same day and launched the first wing of LFR, everything would be fine. Right? Everything would be A-okay. No one would care. Right? Nobody would care. Now, with that being said, I think that is the best thing that can happen, right? I mean, we have a lot of people that are like, oh no, I don't want to do it. That makes the race to world first. Too fast. Oh, you're rushing this. Oh yeah. All this does is confirm that the leaked release date of the 28th of November is fine. We're going to be getting the pre-patch on like 22nd of October. It's fine. It's okay. Everything is aces. If they release Mythic on day one, that does nothing for a vast majority of players. For the Mythic Raiders, it kind of does it where it's like, hey, this boss is super easy on Mythic, so we'll knock this boss out, and then we'll do real progression next week, because there's all sorts of, like, scumbaggy stuff that they need to do. But, like, how do I explain this? What this will do for the world first guilds is just make it to where they don't raid Mythic, like, day one. They just, no life splits, right? So they're going to be spending less time. That is a weird moth. Yay, Midwestern living. There is a weird line where during that time before Mythic Raid release, they just grind Mythic Plus dungeons. In this case, it wouldn't be really grinding Mythic Plus dungeons. It would be, see how far they can get in Mythic, then leave, then do Mythic Plus dungeons. Do they think that a little bit more gear can get this boss down? If yes, okay, they're done. If not, they're just going to save Mythic for later. They'll do more splits. It'll be fine. I don't care about the Race the World First. Right? It's fun entertainment, and I don't want the people that do it to have a bad time, but I don't think that shared release would really change anything. Like, it would definitely remove that whole, well, US has 18 hours of progress on other people, because this would completely eliminate, like, this would just place everyone so far behind. I think this is fine. Now, something else that we should chit-chat about. I'm going to go into the proper setting, because I'm a good boy. And I've had to, like, redo these a lot because of it. I'm on off and left the endgame of Dragonflight has all of the reputations. There's no real player power tied behind reputations. There are some pieces of gear that are tied behind the reputations, like later in the renown. By the time you get to that renown, you'll be done. You won't need it. It won't really be useful. The renown rewards, like the cosmetics that it rewards you, like, hey, you have reached renown level 5. You now have this hat cosmetic. That is something that is, like, that's something that's account-wide. But vendor items don't appear to be account-wide, which is weird, right? Like, I would prefer if they were, so I don't have to be, so I don't have to grind renown on my fucking enchanter and my tailor and my alchemist, because the centaur have all this cool thing. But it's like 1,000 points. It's essentially a rep grind, but you're rewarded with something new every 1,000 points. And it's going back to the old Mist of Pandaria style of daily quests, or reputation quests, if you want to call it that. And a lot of you might not remember this, but in the beginning of Mist of Pandaria, if you didn't do your daily grind, you got behind. But beyond that, if you remember what happened in Mist of Pandaria, it was a case of, if you hit Honored, you then unlock these quests that will then unlock more dailies. So instead of doing 4 dailies, you're doing 6 or something like that. And that was my favorite part, right? Like, the Golden Lotus, you eventually go out, and instead of just doing a few quests in the Vale, you go down to Krasarang Wilds and you fight the Drunken Master and all that. That was pretty cool. And you just got a lot more stuff. You got a lot more reputation. There was a token that would double your reputation gains. I feel like that needs to be something there. Dragonflight, it's essentially the same thing. It adds more story chapters that you can unlock. I imagine that would unlock more dailies, more world quests, stuff like that. Now, the other part for gearing will be elemental invasions. What are elemental invasions? Well, if you played assaults or anything like them ever since Legion, was it just in? Yeah, it started in Legion. Ever since Legion, you've played that. You just do it. You get this currency. You turn the currency. I couldn't hit the pause button. Sorry about that. Oh, that hurt my soul. I'm dying. Anyways, you turn the currency into gear, and it's regular starter gear. I think it was equal to heroic dungeon level. It's alt gear. It's catch up gear. It's the gear that my DK is gonna get, or my evoker is gonna get, if it means that she can go through stuff faster. It doesn't give an insane amount of rep, which is weird. So yeah, that's weird, right? That's weird. I'm not the only one thinking that's weird. They have to tune the rep gains, honestly. People were complaining. It's like, hey, these things only give me like 75 rep or 150 rep, and I only do like 1 or 2 of those a day, and the rest are only like 25 rep, and the rares don't give reps. Like, fix it in alpha, fix it now. Give the feedback. You make videos, give the feedback. I'm okay with the end game. They're like, oh, there's too many fill the bar quests. It's like, yes, there are a lot of fill the bar quests, but I prefer that to what we have in Shadowlands, which is, oh, hey, you've done this part of the quest. Now do this part of the quest. Now do this part of the quest. Oh, hey, now you're done. Right? I understand that they could do more fun stuff. That more fun stuff, that, like, climbing quests and everything are locked behind Renown. And it sucks. It should be very early in Renown that you unlock the ability to do the rock climbing. And yeah, there's the wild hunt, and I think that doing the hunts, doing the invasions, should reward you with like 500 rep at a time, right? Especially if they're a weekly thing or a like every 3-day thing. I think that there is a certain reward that should come with that. I think that the rep gains right now are too small. I agree with that. Do I agree that they are uninspired? Fill the Bar was never inspired. Fill the Bar was just a quicker way to do stuff. Instead of having 3 quests that are like, oh hey, kill 5 guys. Oh hey, collect 3 items. Oh hey, click 5 things. It's just do whatever you want, do any combination, just get it done. Right? That's fine. I don't think there's a return to the flight whistle, but there doesn't need to be because dragon riding is a big thing. All of the dungeons have now been released, and the only class tree missing now is Vengeance Demon Hunter, but that's fine. A lot of wonderful content creators and everything are getting NPCs, which are wonderful. We've got Krend the Pointless. I think all we need now is Denuser the Poor Writer, because I don't know how anything's going to work out, but I do know that overall what we are getting in the next expansion is a huge overlap of the best things out of the last few expansions. And people are talking about, well, class design is bad. It's just BFA and Shadowlands, which is false for a lot of classes. Yeah, some classes you only have what you had in Shadowlands and BFA. But guess what? Monk, for example, we have multiple legendary powers. The fact that we can now use multiple legendary powers at once is great. People are already figuring out how to like maximize your build in terms of building any tree. It's like, hey, you want to have that full 10 points when you start working down there, blah blah blah. It's already getting mathed out like everyone knew it would. I don't know why there were people that were like, well, when these new talent trees come out, people aren't going to be playing best in slot talents. Yes, they are. It's math. It's math. It's World of Warcraft. It's not complicated. It's never been complicated. The only reason why we thought it was complicated back then is because we didn't have as many people doing math. That's it. We have we have Simcraft. We have raid bots. We have Ask Mr. Robot. We have fucking Blood Mallet. That's good. We don't need to rely on elitist jerks. I mean, we kind of do because Ian's the game director, but it's fine. It's okay. I'm 100% ready for the Dragonflight release, and I'm probably going to release a video where we talk about how to prep for a raid or an expansion release, which I'm going to be doing because, yeah, buddy, it's looking to be nice. It's looking to be a fun expansion, guys. I'm not just saying that because my monk is back to its former glory in terms of gameplay. I'm saying that because I don't see much wrong. I don't.